Hi guys, Maniac here. It's been a while, hasn't it? About a month. Yeah, sorry I haven't made a video in a while. It's just that I'm trying to do like my schoolwork, and I'm also trying to sort out a few other things that I kind of want to get into right now, and I've just been extremely busy. So to hold you over until my next game review, I decided to create this list. A list of my top 5 favorite NES games. Now, if you don't see your favorite NES game here, well, sorry, but my opinion is that these are my favorite. And without further ado, let's begin. Ranking in at number 5 is the game Adventure Island by Hudson Soft. Adventure Island is one of my favorite games because I like how the game just works. You play as Master Higgins and you gotta go save a princess from this big villain, so nothing too new. And you go through levels and you gotta collect fruit in order to keep your hunger up so that way you don't starve to death. This one's only lower on the list because it just doesn't make sense to me why you have to constantly eat food all the time in order to keep your health bar, because it goes down pretty quick, especially when you get power downs and like run into stuff. Then I felt the game should have had a timer and a health bar, because unfortunately one hit and you're dead. Something that has plagued games for a long time. But overall, I like Adventure Island, and it's a really good game. If you manage to find it, I suggest picking it up. Ranking in at number 4 is Kirby's Adventure for the NES. Kirby got its beginning on the Game Boy, and then they made an NES game. Unfortunately, this game didn't do like the very best, and it's all because it was made later on in the NES's lifespan, about the time when the NES was pretty much dead. Because why have an NES when you can get something like the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis? The graphics are nice, and the gameplay is spot on, matching what Kirby is all about. I suggest really getting this game. Unfortunately, it's a little bit just... I don't really know how to describe it. I like Kirby, but as for this game, it's good. It's very Kirby, I guess. But nonetheless, it's a good game, but it has some things that prevent me from playing it time and time again. Like, sometimes it'll just be, like, really, really slow. And I don't mean in terms of gameplay, I mean, like, the game itself is very slow. But it was only in a few parts, so it holds up very well for a game like this, where it's very big. Ranking in at number 3. Oh, you didn't want to go in the box? Fine. Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. Now, I'm cheating a little bit here, since technically speaking it's 2 games, but it's all under the hood of 1 cartridge. This was the first NES game, like the actual NES cartridge, that I ever owned. It's not the first game I ever played for NES. It's not the first NES game I've ever played, but it's the first NES game I played that was, like, the real deal. Like, the real cartridge here on the system. What can I say? What can I say? Everything that I want to say has already been said. For Super Mario Brothers, it's not the first game, obviously, to have a side-scrolling adventure. That's been done a bit in the past. But this game is what perfected it. It has all the things that a side-scrolling game's pretty much... It set the groundwork for it. You got, like, an overworld, underground world, a sky world, a castle. You gotta stop a big villain from kidnapping the princess and taking over the land. And it's the definitive side-scrolling adventure with featuring tons of power-ups, memorable music, memorable characters. It's just great. And Duck Hunt, well, it's just awesome because you get to play with a gun. But also, it's very cool to be able to shoot the duck with this toy gun, and it actually works. Even though that dog annoys me to... That dog. Ranking it at number 2, I think you all know what it is. Golden cartridge and everything. You know it. You love it. It is... Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. I'm just kidding. Don't worry, no, that's not it. It's Zelda 1. Now, what can really be said about this game as well? It has such a big world to explore, with tons of characters, much like Super Mario Bros. But the music just melts my ears. It is beautiful. And it's just such a great adventure game. Now, I know I'm probably going to get the hater in the comments complaining about how I put Zelda at number 2 when there's still one more game. And it's just because one thing. I suck at Zelda. Zelda's like the one game I am the worst at, and yet I love it so much. I just can't find anything. I've beaten it a couple times in the past, and by a couple I mean 2, and even then it was a little walkthrough. And my best friend at my side, who basically knows the game front and back. I didn't realize how pathetic I am at this game. Oh well, I'll go cry about that in the corner after I finish this. And then there's number 1, but not yet. Before I get to number 1, I want to show a few games that didn't make the list, mainly because they're good in their own way, but they have a bit too many flaws. Whereas, yeah, there's somewhat flaws with this stack right here, but these just have more to where I rarely ever play them as much as I really should. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know this game gets a bad rap, but it's honestly a pretty good game. Unfortunately, the music just really isn't Ninja Turtles. Like, where's the Turtles theme? Sorry, someone's using the bathroom upstairs. And yeah, the music just really isn't Ninja Turtles. The enemies make no sense. And it's just way too difficult. Especially for a kid in the 80s who loves Ninja Turtles. So unfortunately, that game just didn't make the list. Up next, oh god, I hope I don't step on anyone's toes, but The Adventures of Bayou Billy by Konami. Now, Konami has made really good games, like Contra. Now, I would have had that on the list, but I own Contra. Or Mega Man, or lots of other games that I really enjoy, but maybe I'll update this list in the future. So anyway, back to Billy here. Bayou Billy, it presents itself in a good way. The graphics are quite pleasant, the music's pretty good, but unfortunately it takes way too many hits to kill your enemies, and most of the time I can find myself barely passing the first level. So, unfortunately, Bayou Billy, same as Ninja Turtles, didn't make the list. Up next, Commando. Now, Commando has some aspects much like this game over here on my shelf called Akari Warriors. But Commando presented itself much better than that game did. Now, why didn't this make the list? Unfortunately, this was an early game on the NES, as in, you see, after the video game Crash, companies didn't really want much to do with video games because it didn't sell. Then Nintendo came, and then in '86, companies were starting to try. One of the first being Capcom, who made Mega Man, Street Fighter, and Commando. And they also put Ghosts and Goblins on the NES. But if you want to know more about that game, go watch my review. So, Yeah, and because it's an early game and it's made by a different company than Nintendo, it unfortunately suffers from glitches. Could very well be my copy, but I don't know. And overall, it's just I won't constantly go back to it. It's just I know I keep saying it's just overall Commando, good game, really good. You should go get it, but I I don't find myself playing it a lot. Maybe I'll play it more in the future, but it's not on this list. At least it's nice enough to put the instructions on the front. Destroy the enemy army. So at least it has some decency. And last but not least, out of this box, 3D World Runner. I don't play this one too much, mainly because I can't attack the enemies. Because you need a certain power-up or a certain amount of stars or something, I don't know, but you're not allowed to pretty much kill any of the enemies. You can only really kill the boss of the world. I will give it credit. It's one of the 3D games where you put on the 3D glasses and it would be in 3D. Of course, they have the same thing for Rad Racer over here, and they also did in this game. It also had a 3D world to run around. So, 3D World Runner. Good game, but unfortunately, I just don't really care much for the execution. So, it did not make the list. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get to game number one. The number one game I love playing on the NES is Super Mario Brothers 3. Now, much like Zelda and Super Mario Brothers / Duck Hunt, what can I say about this game? And it's even worse because so many people, like pretty much everyone has played it. You have not had a childhood if you haven't played Super Mario Brothers 3. Now, back then, of course, I didn't own the NES, but I did play Super Mario Advance for Super Mario Brothers 3. Basically, it's pretty much Mario 3, but with Super Nintendo style graphics. Super Nintendo's up on this shelf, but most of my games are over there. I was playing it earlier. Anyway, it's a bigger world than Mario 1 by a lot. More power-ups, more enemies. And my favorite level has to be World 4, where everything's humongous. It's just awesome. And the Koopa Kids. They all have unique ways of attacking. It's not like in Mario 1 where you get to the end and it's Bowser who shoots fire at you, and from World 6 to 8, for some odd reason, shoots hammers out of his head. I don't know. But anyway, the Koopa Kids all have their own unique way of attacking you, which makes it awesome. And everything about this game is just phenomenal. If you see this game, which might be a little bit difficult seeing as how everyone pretty much holds on to this game, but if you do see it, I extremely recommend you pick up this game. And that's it. Are there any else I'm missing? Am I blind by all these other good games that I'm missing out on a couple others? Well, put them in the comments below on what you believe are some really good NES games. And talk about them. And with that said, I'm the Retro Maniac. I should go work on a review right now.